Hello, everyone. I'm doing the live. This camera looks weird. Does the camera look weird for y'all? It's coming up looking weird for me. Hopefully it's not creating an issue or distracting you all. So today's live is titled Destroying the Cycle of Self-Judgment. And I'm going to be talking about how I inherited it, how it manifested itself into different areas of my life, how I had to heal my inner child from it, and how to move past it, of course. So don't come over here because I tried to wake you up. Stay right there. No, stay right there because I tried to wake you up for the past 30 minutes. So now that you hear me talking and doing something else, now you want to come. Go and get yourself ready for our day. We have things to do today. Okay. Thank you. Love you. I will shortly. Okay. Just go ahead and do what you need to do. So, what was I saying? So self-judgment. We know that we deal with this as women. Okay. And we deal with it heavily from the large judgments of just talking about ourselves physically. Look how we look every day, judging how we think, how we feel on a daily basis. And moving out of that is difficult because, number one, if you're trying to set yourself apart as a woman, then most women or most people are doing this very thing that you're trying to separate yourself from. And so, of course, it becomes difficult to separate yourself, especially if it's family, if it's, the people that you're accustomed to being around, your friends, et cetera, and they're the ones who are still doing this and you're trying to move out of it. You're going to have to find new people to be around, and you're going to have to lessen your time with the people who are still practicing the behaviors that you're trying to get rid of. That's just point blank, period. Find a new tribe. And trust me, once you start moving within yourself and doing what it is that you really want to do, you will find those people who are doing things differently. Personal story manifestation. So if you do not know who I am, by the way, my name is Cecile Edwards. I am the CEO and creative director of Mommy Evolve, where we discuss holistic ways for mothers to improve their self-care, to improve their lives, to improve their parenting, and to just learn new skills and tools. So let me not say improve, because there's nothing, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just, we just need to, if we find ourselves in a bind, we have to find different ways to do it and then shift our mind and our actions to doing it. Okay. So let me just say that. And the person's voice that you heard at the side was my daughter. I've been trying to wake her up for the past 30 minutes. And as soon as she heard me talking to y'all, then she wanted to get up. So I had to let her know that no, you needed to get up when I asked you to, not when you felt like doing it because you wanted to be in my video. Anyway, we know we deal with that with children. She's 9 and she likes to do her own YouTube videos. And so, it is what it is. So the cycle of self-judgment, where does that even come from? Okay, let's first even clarify that. Well, my understanding of life is that, and knowledge has led me to the understanding that most of us, if not all of us, deal with a break from our true selves in childhood. And what does that mean? It means that in childhood is when we are told by the world around us, by our families, etc., that who we are, what we like, what we want to do is not sufficient. It's not good enough. We learn to change ourselves to fit into the mold that everyone else wants us to fit into. And that makes us cast judgment on ourselves about the way we think, the way we feel, the way we view life, the way we view the world. Okay. And that happens to most of us in childhood. And so when we are looking to heal, you will find that if you go to a therapist, if you go to a coach, even if you do your own self-therapy in whatever way, spirituality, whatever it is that you do, you find that you will go back to childhood It's inevitable, right? Where you will find that you had this break from your personal reality and push into the reality of everyone else around you, mentally, okay, psychologically. And so through life, we're constantly judging ourselves and what we like, what we want to do based on what everyone else is doing. So many women, we know that women, African American women specifically, are the fastest growing entrepreneurs in America right now, right? And as a person who is in that pool, I know that one of my most prominent issues was being visible and really allowing people to see me for who I was, talking about the things that I wanted to talk about freely. And that was because I cast a judgment on myself about the way I looked, et cetera, et cetera. But when I realized that showing up was not just about being or doing what everyone else was doing, but showing up was about being your authentic self, then I could show up and just do me without thinking about that. Right? So we learn self-judgment from our childhood. We learn it from hearing other people, hearing others judge others for just being who they are, and also from your own being judged yourself. Okay? So we hear it all the time. We hear things in our family like, oh, why did she do that? She shouldn't do that. And now we are like, oh, I don't want to do that. Because if I do that, then this is how people are going to be talking about it. Well, guess what? There's coffee in here, not tea. It's all right. I need to get my spirulina today. Well, guess what? At some point, we have to be like, who cares? Right? Who cares what other people are saying? Because this is what feels good to my soul. This is what makes me happy. It's not destructive to anyone. It's not destructive to me. It's not destructive to the next person. It's just what I want to do. And I have to be okay with what it is that I want to do. And that's it. That is it. Right? So now that we have a bit of an understanding into how self-judgment even comes into play, we have to also understand how it manifests throughout other areas of our lives, right? So I talked about, how it manifests in, Nubia, please keep the noise down. Put that stuff in the freezer properly, but keep the noise down. Okay? Thank you. How it manifests in other, no, for what?
My team.
No, use something else. That's for mommy. I use it for a reason. Just use a little bit, very little. Who used it last night? You used it? Okay, put it, that's fine. How it manifests in many other ways. Okay, so, and excuse the distractions, y'all. I try to keep the distraction to a minimum, but such is life. Okay, I'm a mother. I'm a busy mother. We multitask. It is what it is. Right? There was a time when I would have judged myself for that happening, but I ain't doing it anymore. At any rate, so how does it manifest in other areas of your life? How does self-judgment manifest in other areas of your life? So as I said, we know that we judge ourselves for not being skinny enough or having gained weight and, for having our thoughts and all of those other things. But self-judgment, the deepest manifestation it has is in our spirituality and our not doing things that are seeking answers outside of what we're used to learning about how to do things. So that could be in our health, our physical health. We usually learn, you go to the doctor, you take the medication. But if someone says to you, I know raising my daughter, I always had to deal with people saying, you need to just take her to the doctor instead of giving her natural remedies. And it's like, that made me think to myself, oh, is what I'm doing okay? When the truth of the matter is that I was given the inspiration to do what I was doing for a reason. And so I was doing it based on my internal knowledge, and that was enough, and that was okay. Right? But now I'm judging myself, and I'm not doing what I know is right, and that's stressing me out. Because that's the manifestation right there. When you are not doing what you know is the most powerful thing to do, it stresses you out. My hair was wet. It stresses you out. And you end up being anxious. You end up being depressed. And that is my story. That was my wall. I hit the wall when I had a severe anxiety attack. Okay. And it was because I had been listening to everybody else's judgment and internalizing that. And that internalization made me turn away from what I knew was powerful and what I knew was true or what I knew was right for me to do for my life. And that right there is, to me, the essence of why many women are dealing with anxiety and depression in this society. Right? Because we are constantly being judged from outside, and we internalize that judgment. And excuse me, that internalized judgment leads us to get anxious about our future, worry about our past, but not take a stance in the present moment that we are capable of taking control of our lives. And so when it comes to releasing self-judgment, this is what releasing self-judgment will do. It will allow you to take control of your life where you are and start to make decisions based on what it is that you know is most powerful for you to do in your life. And it is something that takes time, because think about it. If you are on your healing journey just starting now in your 20s or 30s, you have had 20 and 30 years of judging yourself based on other people's expectations. And so, little doubts and all these things are going to creep in. But once you learn the tools, you will know when those things creep in, and you'll know how to reel yourself back in. And that's the powerful part. And that's part of what we do in Mommy Evolve with my personal mentoring or group classes. We learn all the tools. We learn how to recognize. We learn how to recenter ourselves within ourselves to take better care of ourselves. This is the essence of self-care that I talk about in Mommy Evolve. Well, the deeper part of self-care. We talk about the, taking care of yourself, taking hot baths and what essential oils to use and all of those things. But the depth of it is how your mind, what you're doing, what is going on in your mind. That is the most powerful self-care. Because if you're not mentally doing what is most powerful to speak over your life, to think positively and powerfully about yourself, then anything you do externally is going to look good, but you're not actually going to be good. Right? So for me, it came down to one, doing inner child meditations, and inner child work, in order to really go back to those times where I felt like I was not supported and where I was judged, and really heal that space in my life and heal that time in my life, so that now and I had to do that on a subconscious level in order to come back to myself in the present and be present with myself now, so I can command what I want now. Okay. And this is very powerful work. Again, this is what I do with the women that I work with and men that I work with. And it is where I believe, from my own personal story, where we need to start. Because that is where we start to release all of this baggage that we have and all of this judgment that we have around where our lives are now. We release the blame, we release the guilt, we release the shame, and all of that, so that we can be present in this life and in our lives now and not judge ourselves, and realize where that self-judgment has manifested itself in the different corners of our thinking and our lives and our actions. Critical to move past it. So I invite you to really think about, what it is that I said today. And if you are ready to do some personal work around any of the generational patterns, not just self-judgment. We've talked about many things, but in our sessions, individual sessions or group class, I do talk about our generational patterns, how to recognize them, and how to heal from them. Okay. And this goes far more in depth than even this video. I have an inner child meditation that is coming out. I also do readings on past lives, which is critical for you to know, for you to really understand your journey on earth now. Okay. Because we have past lives, and those do affect what our assignment is on this planet today. Okay, so with that said, I don't have anything else to say about this topic at this moment, but if you have any questions, please put it below. Please join the YouTube channel, Mommy Evolve. I'm going to upload this video there as well, and I look forward to seeing you and hearing from you. You can email me, momevolve @gmail.com for questions about scheduling time with me in mentorship, and also my website to join the newsletter. You can go to the website, www.mommyevolve.com, and join the conversation and join the input. We talk about mother wound, parenting. Oh, that was the other point that I needed to make. When you talk about the self-judgment piece, this is the other extension of it. We have to go back into the conversation around how if you are a mother currently, or if you're planning on having children, how we may unknowingly cast judgment on our children that may turn into internalized judgment. Okay, we really need to think about that and think about whether or not what we're doing and how we're presenting our rules as parents is casting judgment, or how we're presenting our spirituality is casting judgment, and maybe making our children feel restricted and constricted within themselves. Okay, because as I said, that's where it starts. So if you are a parent and you want to become a parent, you have to be aware of that. And I know I had to become aware of it with my daughter, of course, when I realized that she had started going into a shell. And when the conversations were happening, I realized that, yes, from my actions, my perfectionist ways and all of that was really casting judgment on her, instead of taking the time to teach her how to perform certain acts like household chores, doing certain work that she had to do. But instead I had this expectation without, and this judgment without, doing the work. And I had to take responsibility for that, right? And I had to really think about how that even came to being and why that was. And it had to do with my time being strained, et cetera, et cetera. Me doing things that I did not necessarily want to do, all of those things. And so when I talk about self-care, I'm talking about, psychologically, mentally, spiritually. Those are the areas that we don't delve into, but those are the most critical areas of your self-care. Those are the most critical, because from those, everything springs. From those areas, everything else sprouts. Everything else, your mind and what's going on with you spiritually, right? And so we have to be conscious and cognizant of getting ourselves together in those areas, so that we can access the full life that we desire and deserve. Okay. And we can shatter some things generationally, move past these things generationally. Okay. Because they are a generational pattern. They are a generational pattern oftentimes. We've seen it, we've done it, and not just generational on a familial level, but society. Okay. We see so many things societally from watching television, et cetera, and we don't realize how that internalized inside of us, right? And so we becoming aware of it and really dismantling and deconstructing these things is quite powerful. Knowing how to ask the proper questions when you see these things is critical as well. Okay. If you're interested, if you like these bracelets, I have my evolving bracelet. I also have one that says Mommy Magic. You can actually order from my page, Mommy Evolve page on Facebook. Okay. And I look forward to having another live and talking to you soon. Evolve the Inner Mother class. Contact me if you're interested. A new session will be starting at the beginning of, it is October 1st. October 1st, this evening. So if you're interested and you're ready, it is a 6-week course where we go through the different areas of generational healing, personal healing, self-care, and releasing some stuff. Okay. Lots of release, but also bringing in some new stuff that's going to empower you, your children, generations to come. Okay. Leave transformed. Evolve the Inner Mother. You can see more about that on evolvetheinnermother.launchrock.com. Also, join the Facebook community, Intergenerational Healing and Self-Care, right here on Facebook. As I said, the Facebook community. Stay connected. I love y'all. Thank you. Do something different for generations today. Peace and blessings.